Again, we are going to discuss the previous year's GS UPSC GS1 questions. Now, next question is, how are the fjord formed? Fjord बनते कैसे हैं? अब fjord बनते कैसे हैं इसको समझाने के लिए let me show you how do they look like. वो दिखने में कैसे लगते हैं? जैसे नॉर्वे है, दिस इज नॉर्वे, नॉर्वेजियन कोस्ट इज फ्योर्ड. ये जो नैरो वाटर बॉडीज की इनलेट देख रहे हो ना, दीज नैरो वाटर इनलेट्स, दीज आर फ्योर्ड्स. देखो, between these inlets, these water inlets that you are seeing, these are fjords. ये water inlets दिख रही है ना, these water inlets bounded by land, these are fjords. If you see from close, then you can see fjords. देखो, this river water is, they are very long, more than 100 miles at times. See, it appears like a river entering into the land, although it is sea water that has protruded into the land, and they are bounded by steep cliffs. The adjoining land slope is very steep like a cliff. You can see this slope is steep like a cliff. You can see adjoining slope is steep like a cliff. See, it is steep like a cliff. So fjords are, they appear like river. These are the sea water that has transgressed in the glacial valleys. So now let us start with how they get formed. Basically, fjords got formed during ice age. During ice age, except tropical region, that is except 30 north to 30 south, entire area north of 30 north latitude and entire area south of 30 south latitude was covered by snow during ice age. And fjords got formed in higher middle latitudes where the heap of the ice was huge heap of ice got deposited. So fjords के लिए खास बात ये है, they get formed only in higher middle latitudes along the coastal regions which have parallel mountains running along them. Fjords always, they are all exclusively found in higher middle latitudes where during glaciation huge heap of ice got deposited, and which have, those coasts have mountains running parallel to the coast. You can see this. Fjord coasts are almost exclusively confined. The Norwegian coast, here you can see Jolan Mountains is running close to the coast. Fjord coast in British Columbia, here Rocky Mountain coastal ranges are running close to the coast. Fjord coast Alaska, here Alaskan range is running along the coast. Fjord coast is found in southern Chile, here Andes mountain is running parallel to the coast. So these fjords are found where in higher latitudes, higher mid latitudes, where mountains run parallel to the coast. As a result, during ice age, when huge heap of ice got deposited in coastal areas, these glaciers descended from the highlands and plunged into the sea. Since they were massive pieces of ice, they suppressed the underlying surface and they eroded the underlying surface and carved out long deep valley. They carved out long deep valley. Suppose you can see here like this. These are the valleys and these are the intervening land area that are projecting ahead. So when the glaciers descended, and this glacier, it was not only one glacier, multiple cycles of glaciation continued, and as the glacier descended, they carved out long, narrow, deep valleys with steep side walls. As a result of polycyclic, basically multiple glacial cycles took place, and since the weight of the ice was huge, so long, narrow, deep valleys were carved out during ice age, right? When ice age came to an end and sea level rose, the sea water occupied these deep glacial valleys and these narrow inlets of water bodies came into existence, which are known as fjords. So simply stated, it can be said fjords are formed during ice age by glacial erosion. Fjords mark the path of glaciers that plunged from the adjoining highlands into the sea. Because highland was there, the glaciers used to descend, and while descending, they used to erode their valleys. They used to carve out long, narrow, deep valleys with steep side walls, and such multiple glaciers descended. As a result, the valleys became considerably deep. And when ice age ended and sea level rose, it occupied these glacial valleys. These glacial valleys, which were occupied by seawater, are known as fjords. So fjords mark the path of glaciers that plunge down from the adjoining highlands into the sea. During ice age, massive glaciers move down the valleys. बड़े बड़े ग्लेशियर्स अपनी वैलीज में मूव कर रहे थे. ड्यू टू द इमेंस वेट एंड मूवमेंट दे इरोडेड द सरफेस थ्रू ग्लेशियल स्कोरिंग. उन्होंने अपने सरफेस को स्क्रैच कर करके उसको ड्यू टू स्क्रैचिंग एंड पॉलिशिंग दे कार्व्ड आउट डीप वैलीज, thus carving out U-shaped valleys characterized by steep sides and flat bottom. During ice age, multiple glaciers continue to do the same job. As a result, these long deep valleys came into existence. And as the ice age came to an end and sea level rose, these glacially carved out valleys got submerged under the seawater. These glacially carved out valleys got submerged under the seawater, forming fjords. Fjord coasts are almost entirely confined in higher middle latitudes where mountains run parallel to the coast. Now, they are so picturesque? What constitutes why do they constitute some of the most picturesque areas of the world? मतलब scenic beauty, उसकी वजह ये है because steep sided cliffs. If you stand over here, this fjord water is always calm because it is bounded by land area on both sides. It's perfectly calm. And basically because of its calmness and because of proximity to sea, high velocity winds blow over here. When you stand over here, you can see the cliffs standing vertically high with steep sides and deep inlets of water running inside. Since water is calm, it gives the reflection of the surrounding terrain, surrounding topography, which makes it very beautiful. And since these areas are bounded by high mountains, so these fjords are of no importance for ports. So no commercial activity takes place. They are pristine and pure. People visit there for the sake of scenic beauty. ठंडी ठंडी हवा चलती है यहाँ पर, wind blowing from the sea. During winters, the entire landscape is covered by snow and this water body is there. During summers, lush green vegetation is there and this calm water body is there. So people prefer to go there for the scenic beauty. Fjords are characterized by steep vertical cliffs that plunge into deep, narrow inlets. Deep water inlets, and these are the narrow inlets, and they are bounded by steep cliffs on both the sides. The dramatic contrast between the height of the cliff and the depth of the water inlets creates a visually striking landscape. The calm and clear water of fjord reflect the surrounding terrain and topography, which gives a tranquil and serene landscape which people prefer to enjoy. ठीक है, it was simple. Now, next question. Why is the southwest monsoon called Purvaiya in Bhojpur region? Simple. See, this is India. This Bay of Bengal branch passes over Bangladesh. It segregates on encountering Meghalaya plateau. One branch turns northwestward because of orientation of Himalayas. It turns northwestward and blows from east to west. Second branch impacts on Meghalaya plateau, causing heavy rainfall. And the first stream moves northwest along the orientation of Himalayas. Second stream impacts directly on Meghalaya, Cherrapunji and Mosaram. And the third stream moves northeast, that causes rainfall along Arunachal Pradesh, Himalayas. So in Bhojpur or northern plains, the direction of southwest monsoon is from east to west. It is called Purvaiya, not only in Bhojpur region. In UP also it is called Purvaiya. And basically this wind, moisture laden winds provide immense relief to these people from scorching heat. इससे पहले क्या होता है, मई का महीना होता है, it's very hot, and as this moisture laden wind comes, it provides relief from the scorching heat, and it marks the beginning of sowing of paddy crop. And since human activity, April, May, it's so hot, people don't even move out of the house. But in the month of June, July, when this moisture laden winds appear, the paddy cultivation begins, and numerous festivals and ceremonies are conducted for the good harvest, as a mark of respect to the deity. So the harvest is good. Tej festival that was celebrated yesterday, Tej, Sawan, and basically you see the winds, these moisture laden winds basically provide a very soothing climate. झूले पड़ जाते हैं, लोग सावन के महीने में झूला झूलते हैं. And songs also you can see Bhojpuri songs कि पुरवैया चले, basically सावन भादों, these are because the weather becomes very romantic. लोगों को बड़ा मजा आता है. और क्योंकि ये all this coincides with sowing season agriculture cycle, because agriculture rain is the basic, this rain is the main source of water for paddy cultivation in Bhojpur region, in Bihar and eastern UP and western UP. So this it is called Purvaiya just because it blows from east to west. Southwest monsoon blows from east to west in this region. And why it is having so much impact on their culture and cultural ethos? Because this not only brings relief from the scorching heat, it marks the beginning of sowing season. Now economic activity take place, people enjoy it, and there's a apprehension, there's a they are harbinger of good harvest, basically because it is on the intensity of this southwest monsoon that the entire agriculture system is dependent. So when this arrives, there's a hope, there's anticipation that the good crop will be there, and to ensure that they perform several festivals, they sing several songs in praise of the Indra deity, which is rain god, so that they may have good harvest. तो मतलब जैसे कि there's particular festivals, these particular ceremonies, all are associated with this economic cycle of agriculture, paddy cultivation, because food is a basic primary requisite. And when paddy cultivation begins, वहाँ के लोगों, and this weather is very soothing and weather is very good, so people start enjoying, पेड़ों पे झूले पड़ जाते हैं, basically people start enjoying this weather. So this directional season of wind has influenced the cultural ethos because it marks the sowing of paddy, which is rain fed. Festivals like Tej and Sawan are celebrated to coincide with monsoon arrival and pray for good harvest. Bhojpuri songs are laden with Purvaiya. वो कई सारे गाने सुनोगे, पुरवैया चले, सावन को आने दो, है ना. Songs like Kajri and Birha are sung during the monsoon season. Architecture of the homes in this area is constructed in such a way that during Purvai, wind passes smoothly. So there's cross ventilation from east to west. So this has holistic impact on the lifestyle of Bhojpur region, in fact entire northern plains. It has holistic impact on the northern plains. कुछ लोगों को जो चोट लगी होती है पुरवाई के टाइम में, बड़ा दर्द होता है. Basically this wind, सबसे ज़्यादा importance इसलिए it is moisture laden winds which marks the beginning of economic activities like paddy cultivation, and as a result of which people are rejuvenated, they are jubilated, and they start praying for God for the good harvest, and they start celebrating festivals. So this was all about this. So we'll continue in the next lecture.